entering Washington over the Highway 197 bridge. I crossed the Columbia River on Highway 197 into Washington State. By this time, I had 36 miles and over 3,000 feet of elevation gain. After crossing the bridge into Washington State, I had 3 miles of climbing to get to Highway 14. Once I reached Highway 14, I rode east for another 25 miles. Fortunately, there was a strong tailwind, which really helped because there were a lot of hills. On the Lewis and Clark Trail in Washington State. That's the road over there that I've been riding up. Finally, I got to Highway 97 and turned south on Highway 97 towards Big Junction on the Oregon side of the Columbia. As I descended towards the river, I was hit by a blast of wind that came roaring up out of the gorge. The descent towards the river was very steep. The highway had a very narrow shoulder. I was too tired to fight the wind and try to stay in the shoulder, so in spite of the heavy traffic, I took the entire lane downhill for 1.5 miles to the entrance of Maryhill State Park. Maryhill State Park has very specific spots for setting up tents. You don't want to ignore the placement of your tent because there are sprinklers that turn on in the middle of the night. If you camp in this area of the high desert, make sure you find out if there are sprinklers in the campgrounds. More than one camper has had to move their tent in the middle of the night because they pitched their tent too close to the sprinklers. It had been a long, hot day, so after I set up camp and ate supper, I climbed into my tent, wrote in my journal, did some reading, and eventually fell asleep.